B2B lead generation changes quite literally all the time. All the new technologies that are emerging, all the new best practices that come out, all the new changes in email sender limits or email provider restrictions. So in this video, I wanted to keep everybody up to date and allow them to understand how we are doing it in May of 2024. So the first thing I want to go into is actually finding the leads that you're going to be reaching out to. This of course varies depending on the industry that you're trying to reach out to, but there are a few different sources that usually work quite well for B2B. And I wanted to walk through each of them and why they're beneficial depending on your use case. So the first two that I would look into is Apollo.io and Ocean.io. They are both incredibly powerful databases that have a ton of companies and a ton of people associated with them, and a very good place to start when you're looking for B2B leads. If you're looking for something more e-commerce based as opposed to general business, I would look into Store Leads. Store Leads is an incredible e-commerce database that allows you to find different data points on companies and people who work for e-commerce companies. It has an incredible database with data points such as revenue, the type of technologies that they're using. I mean, it's really incredible what Store Leads is able to find for you. So I'd highly recommend looking into that if you do e-commerce. And if you're looking for local leads, doctors, dentists, HVAC companies, I would go and use the Clay Google Maps integration. If you go into Clay and just click create new table and find local businesses, you can actually define a proximity radius. So if I zoom out, you can see I'm doing most of Manhattan, some of Brooklyn, some of Jersey City, and I type in HVAC and I limit my results to 100 and I click continue. It will actually populate the table with every HVAC company in that area with a ton of information like their title, their address, their phone. However, you might not find the companies you're looking for in those databases, in which I would say, honestly, just Google it. You can scrape most websites these days, and if you can find a specific website that has all the companies in a list that you want to look for, then you can easily scrape them using Clay's Chrome extension. So for example, if you're looking for the 100 best mid-sized companies to work for in Seattle, we have a website right here by built-in. And if I click on my Clay Chrome extension right here, you can see that it auto-populates with all the companies and all of their information, and I can import that immediately into a Clay table. But for people, you might want to change things up a little bit because finding people is a little bit different and requires slightly different methods. So I would still first look at Apollo for sourcing people because it's a really good source of finding employees that work for specific companies as well as their emails and a lot of information that you're probably going to need when you're reaching out to them. Two other ones that are great to check out are LinkedIn Sales Navigator and Clay's Find People integration. If you're looking to import a Sales Navigator link into Clay, just click on Sales Navigator URL, throw that URL right there, and you will then populate your table with every person from that Sales Nav URL. And if you're just looking to scrape LinkedIn as a whole, you can use this UI right here. We can maybe say we're looking for founders in New York City with the word AI in their headline. And we'll probably find that quite a few people will populate into Clay automatically. All right, so we've kind of gone through how to source your leads. But of course, that's really just the first step of the equation. The second one is enrichment and qualification. Enrichment is looking for more data on a company or a person, ideally relevant data that you're then using to do outreach with. And qualification is using that enriched data, let's say how many job openings a company has, and qualifying them to determine whether you actually want to reach out to them. So I'm in a Clay table right now where I've imported 80 companies that are all located based in New York. And let's say I want to filter them by some criteria that I deem important. One example that I'll use is their LinkedIn follower count. If I use this enriched company integration, which is very easily accessible by just typing in enriched company in Clay, you'll see that all I have to do is throw in the company's domain and it runs this integration that gives me a ton of different data points on the company based on their LinkedIn. This is pretty much just outputting their LinkedIn in list format. Everything that's on it, their description, their website, their founding date, their domain. And this is just doing that programmatically into a cell. So what I'm able to do is actually go down and print out their follower count and add it as a column in my table here. And let's say I'm only looking to qualify companies that have over 100 employees. Clay has something called a formula, which allows you to very quickly qualify companies based on criteria you found in your enrichments. So if you click add column and formula, you can actually use plain text to describe exactly what you want. So for example, if, and then we click slash and pick our little follower count column right here is over 99, then check the box. And we click generate formula and you will see that no matter what, it will qualify perfectly. You don't even have to do this with checkboxes. You can do this with text. You can do this with a true or false. Really just depends on what you're looking for. With regards to enrichments, you can pretty much find any publicly available data point in Clay if you know how to use it. So there's AI scrapers that can find niche data. There's email finders. There's phone finders. You can find it all. Clay is also incredible at personalizing outbound messaging. I have a bunch of people here that have visited my website, and nothing about this table is super important except for the fact that I recently used an enrichment to find recent LinkedIn posts that the company posted. So let's say I work for Clay. What I did is I found Clay's LinkedIn account. I used this enrichment to figure out what posts Clay recently posted on LinkedIn. So you can see here that we found one post, and if you click on it, we can actually figure out what exactly the post says, the URL, the date. So what I wanted to do is I actually wanted to personalize messaging based on the news that I found for this company. And it's actually quite easy to do so using OpenAI. Clay's OpenAI integration acts exactly like ChatGPT does, but at scale. When you click on the integration itself, all you have to do is prompt the AI to do exactly what you want it to do, but instead of doing it for one person, you're doing it for an entire list of them. The way you do that is by using these full columns as blocks. So in this case, I wanted to find the most AI related LinkedIn post that the company has posted. But of course, if they couldn't find one that was AI related, I just didn't want to qualify them at all. So I said, pick the LinkedIn post that most relates to AI from the following LinkedIn posts and print out the post text. If you can't find an AI related post, then print no. Print just the post text, nothing else. Here are the posts. And you can see right here, after I ran the integration, it was able to accurately determine whether there were any AI related posts. And if there was an AI related post, it would print out the text for me right here. From there, I actually used OpenAI again to write myself a congratulatory sentence to use in the beginning of an email. I said, use the following news article info to create a congratulatory info sentence. It should be formatted as blank. Keep the output under 10 words. Keep it brief. For example, congrats on the collab for SQL and Stable. Make sure it flows well and sounds like it's being said casually in conversation. Here is the info. And I pop in that AI related post text into this new AI integration, and voila, congrats on being a CNBC disruptor company. Congrats on launching Persephone Pro. Congrats on the LLM integration for SKU data. I was able to write an intro line congratulating them on a hyper-specific thing at scale without having to do any work. Lastly, we're going into actually sending out the message. I'm going to focus on the two main channels that people generally use for B2B outreach, which are email and LinkedIn. For email, I'd highly recommend using either SmartLead or Instantly. Instantly is probably better for a beginner, and SmartLead is great for advanced use cases that use APIs and dashboarding and agencies in particular. For just LinkedIn, I would recommend using HeyReach, and for hybrid campaigns, I would recommend using La Growth Machine that combines LinkedIn voice messaging, and email all into one hybrid campaign. With regards to email, setup remains relatively the same as it has in the past few years, which is you have to set up email inboxes, 2 inboxes per domain that you buy. I would recommend using domains that aren't your actual company domain, but instead buying different ones. And you can only send out 30 emails per day per account, which means 60 emails per domain, 30 emails per sender account. I'd recommend only using Google and Microsoft to actually buy these accounts. The beauty about the tools that I just mentioned is they also interact really well with AI personalization tools like Clay. For example, if you wanted to connect La Growth Machine to Clay, it's very easy. They have a native integration for it. All you have to do is click Add Enrichment, type in La Growth Machine, and you'll see it pops up right here. From there, you just get all of your variables like first name, last name, company name, and you just throw them in their allotted sections. And we even have custom attributes like first line, news custom line that I just mentioned before. All of that can get added to a campaign automatically, and it sends into an actual template. So for example, in this LinkedIn message, you can see I have a template right here that includes variables, and these variables get filled up when I send this information from Clay to the campaign, and they fit together like a perfect puzzle piece if you set it up correctly. And that is it, the general rundown of how to do outbound in 2024. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and happy prospecting.